Hello, welcome to Doubleclick. In this video, we'll be giving you a rundown of our application, a CS426 senior project in computer science developed in the fall of 2021 and spring of 2022 in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering here at the University of Nevada, Reno. Our team, Team 30, consists of myself, Henry Sheet, Lauren Parvin, Colin Comstock, and Nicholas Reinhardt. Firstly, I'll be going over Doubleclick's background, inspiration, and why we think our project is valuable. Inspired by the rise of retail trading and the success of apps marketed to newer traders, we at Doubleclick aim to provide a simplified and elegant solution to beginners in the financial markets. We strongly believe that everyone should have the opportunity to take advantage of the many benefits that come with trading and investing, and we created our project in accordance with that belief. With Doubleclick, users can enter their preferences about their general risk tolerance and trading style, and be served with trade ideas that match those preferences. By providing users with a simple and intuitive user interface, along with suggestions tailored to their preferences, we hope to circumvent some of the challenges and confusion that many novice traders experience with current trading products on the market. I'll now go over the technologies we used when building Doubleclick. Doubleclick was created with HTML and JavaScript within Vue.js, a lightweight yet powerful and progressive framework. For our website's design, all of our styling and CSS was built from scratch. We used Firebase, Google's powerful real-time database, for managing our back-end data, which includes account credentials, stock data, and order history. Lastly, we use TD Ameritrade's Stock API for grabbing stock quotes, Polygon's API for stock information, and TradingView's charting library for displaying interactive, real-time charts. With that, we'll now jump into Doubleclick and explain all of its features in detail.
Hey guys, it's Colin here, and I'm going to be going over our UI and some of the general design decisions that we made when developing Doubleclick. So, Doubleclick is a trading platform, and trading is something that is generally complicated. And the whole goal of our service is to take something complicated and boil it down so that way users who may not be as experienced can still participate in this financial mechanism. So, as far as the design goes, we picked a very simple block color layout where there are white backgrounds with boxes that sort of draw the user's attention into whatever's being displayed on the screen. Beyond that, we have consistent font and styling across the website, and we use boxes to generally just grab the user's attention. So, for example, there is the whole white box background that will contain all of the elements on the page on basically every page. And then if there are subforms or things that the user needs to interact with on that page, then within the white box, there will be another box that's typically blue that will draw the user's attention. As far as the buttons go, we wanted to make sure that the users knew that they were interactable. So all buttons have a little bit of an animation that'll happen whenever you hover over them to let the user know that that is clickable and it is selected. As you can see, across all of our pages, it does have a very similar layout to all of the other pages that we have on display, with the only major different page being the trade page, as there are a lot of different elements going on, and we figured that breaking it up into multiple background boxes would help make the information look less cluttered, and it would help the user know exactly where to look for the information that they're trying to get. As far as the inspiration for the design, initially we did mock-ups of this project that were very similar to what our final product ended up being, and I'm pretty happy with how things have turned out.
Hello, I am Nick, and I will be going over Firebase, the authentication, and how it interacts with our program. To create an account, the user can access Create Account from the home page or from the account page. From there, they click Create an Account and are prompted to register with an email and a password. If the email is not valid, or if the email is already in use, an error will appear. If the password is not long enough, another error will appear. If no errors appear, the user can click Create Account, and their account is created within Firebase. While not logged in, the user is not able to access preferences, positions, trade, or performance. To log in, the user will go to the account page. From there, to log in, they go to Login, input their email address and password. If the email address and the password do not match, or if the email is not inside of the Firebase system, then an alert will pop up. Once login is clicked, the user is now able to access preferences, positions, trade, and performance. To log out, a user will click on the account button, and then from there, click on the red button in the top right corner. Once the user is successfully logged out, they are no longer able to view preferences, positions, trade, or performance. As mentioned previously, our project Doubleclick uses the Firebase database. In order to view our users, we click on Authentication, and we're shown all of their emails, how they signed in, which is done through email in our program, their account created, when they last signed in, and their user ID for tracking within the website. Within our real-time database, we have 3 branches: position, ticker, and user. In the position branch, we were able to see the final profit, whether or not the trade is open, the number of shares, the stock chosen, the trade price, and of course the user ID. From the ticker branch, we are able to see the list of stocks available, and these stocks, what their dividend yield is, the long-term gain, the short-term gain, and of course, the risk tolerance. Finally, with our users, we are able to see how much money they have and their preferences, and of course, their user ID, so we can trace it all back to them.
Now that we've gone over our design choices, the database, and account creation and login, let's get into some trading. All new user accounts in Doubleclick are granted $10,000 in starting paper funds to begin trading with.
The key feature of Doubleclick is that instead of users having to know what they want to trade on or know about the market in order to determine what they want to trade on, our platform is able to recommend users stocks based on a list of their preferences that they would input on our preference page. So, as far as how that works, the user will go to the preference page and they'll be asked 3 simple questions. Is your risk tolerance low or high? Are your dividends important to you? And what's your preferred hold time for a position? Now, when you hover over these, they'll have a drop down with multiple options that each user can select. So for risk tolerance, you can select high or low. For dividends, you can select I don't care. Some dividends would be nice, indicating about a 1 to 2% dividend return, or I need impressive dividends, which would be 3% or more. And for your preferred hold time for a position, you can select short term or long term. After hitting update preferences, those will be pushed to your user account and the reflection or the trades that you get on the trade page will reflect that.
Now that we've inputted all of our preferences, let's head back to the trade page. Here, users have the option to search for a stock, and upon doing so, they'll be provided with a variety of stock information, including a company description, the stock's current price, its daily volume, market cap, and their previously indicated desired position length. This page also displays a real-time and interactive stock chart. By default, it is a simple line chart with a volume indicator. However, users can choose to change the time frame, adjust the style of the chart, or select from a large variety of indicators to best suit their trading needs. After searching for a stock, Users can then place an order by entering their desired number of shares and then pressing the Place Trade button. Doing so will ask the user for confirmation whether they are sure they would like to place this trade. After pressing yes, the user will be notified that their trade has been placed successfully. Afterwards, their cash balance will have been updated accordingly to reflect that trade position. In addition to searching for a trade, users can also request to be suggested one. To receive a suggested trade, all users have to do is hit the New Trade button. Upon doing so, Doubleclick will serve you with a trade recommendation and dynamically update the page to match the suggested stock. Some additional information is also provided about the recommended trade. After receiving their suggestion, users can then, just like when searching for a stock, enter a desired number of shares and choose to place a trade. After the trade has been placed, their available funds will once again be updated to match the trade accordingly.
Now, as far as how that works, like I said, we do have default defined points for what constitutes a recommended stock in any given combination of selections that a user would make on the preferences page. So as far as what those are, like I said, the first one was risk tolerance, which is low or high. Now, how we define that is how much variability has the stock experienced. For example, has the stock experienced a 1/3 drop in a 3-month span from peak to trough between April 1st, 2017 to December 1st, 2019? Now, this method of determining variability is what's known as maximum drawdown. And this is actually a way that a lot of investors will plan their trades, and it has been used to success by some very successful individuals.
Hi guys, Lauren here, and I'm going to be going over how the trade page works from a more technical perspective. So to start things off, like with most of our other pages, we end up using a lot of Vue.js's lifecycle hooks to control the flow of information into our page. The first hook that we use is the created hook, and this is going to be where we authenticate the user and decide what needs to show up on the page. The next lifecycle hook that we end up taking advantage of the most in Doubleclick is the before mount hook. In this lifecycle hook, we end up getting most of our calls to the database done, and we set up the stock suggestions in the page to match what the user's preferences are. So the first call that we make to the database is to get user info. And what this does is it compares the user ID of the current logged in user to the IDs in the database. And once it finds a match, we pull all of the preference information as well as the available funds that the user has. The second call that we make to the database is to get all of the stocks that we have. So this is going to pull in all of the information that we have stored about each stock in Doubleclick. And then we're going to run that through another function called get stock suggestions. And this is going to compare the preferences that we found from get user info to the stocks that we found from our database call, and then make a JSON object of all of the stocks with the information that could be relevant to this user when they hit the new trade button. So now that we have the trade page set up for the current user, they can start either searching for stocks or hitting the new trade button to be suggested a stock. Once either of these two actions happen, we make 3 API calls to different endpoints in order to get information about the stock. We use the Polygon API to get company information. We use the TD Ameritrade API to get pricing and volume information. And we use the TradingView API to pull information into our graph. As previously demonstrated by Henry, the user has the option to place trades with Doubleclick. When the Place Trade button is selected, there are 2 API calls that get sent to our database. The first call is to post the trade as a new open position. The second call is to update the user balance of the user with the cost of the trade being subtracted from their available funds. Once a user has placed the trade, they can navigate to the Positions tab to see their current open positions. For each position they have open, they can see relevant information such as ticker name, buy-in price, number of shares, current price of that stock, and their current profit or loss on the position. They also have the option to hit the Close Position button in order to cancel that trade. When the user selects to close a position, the first thing we need to do is find out which position in their array of current open positions that they actually wanted to close. Once we figured that out, we can then make a call to our database to set the status of that position from open to closed and add in their final profit or loss for that position. The next thing we need to do is make another call to our database that then updates their user account with their new cash balance after their position has been closed. After closing a trade, the user has the option of going to the Performance tab to see their trade history. For each trade, they can see ticker name, buy-in price, number of shares, and total profit or loss. They also can see their statistics for how they rank among other users for current cash balance, and they can see their total realized profit since the start of using Doubleclick.
Hey guys, Colin here, and I'm going to be going over our contact page. So users of our service will probably at some points have questions or comments that they may like to raise with the developers, us, in the event of an issue or something that they don't understand. So we tried to make it easy for our users to contact us by having a simple contact page that has minimal fields, name, email, and message, so that way they can voice their concerns with us. So all the user needs to do is simply enter their name, enter in their email, and enter in a brief message on what they'd like to say to us. After that, they'll hit submit, and they'll be redirected to a page from Form Submit, which is the back end of our contact method that makes sure that they're not a robot, so that way we don't have to fight spam messages. So you click the CAPTCHA, and then after that, you will be redirected back to the website, and this will show up in our inbox. So if we check the Doubleclick email, we can see that there is now a new email in there from our service that voices whatever concern our user has. It works very smooth, and we're very happy with the output.
That concludes the end of our video demonstration of Doubleclick. Thank you for making it to the end of this video, and we as a team are so grateful for the opportunity to work on this project and for all the guidance and advice of our professors, advisors, and peers. Thank you.